Zombie Shepherd up here on District 420. A bit of a different episode this Friday. We'll be giving away a Cosmic Friend by Love Being. Love Being World on Twitter. I got that on my screen here. You can definitely check that out. I basically put that out there because he was kind enough to give me two of these. I recently have really gotten into Pepe's. One sec. I've gotten into Pepe's. I've been collecting these fake rare cards. And it's been fun, man. I've been meeting the artists in the community and figuring out the whole lore of Pepe. I mean, I definitely think you guys should check this out. Um, Here, I'll post the link here. It's Pepe.whatthefuck. If you check that out, it's going to be the whole universe of Pepe's and Pepe art. But there's like a lot of meaning behind these things. And so I've been digging really into them. It was actually brought to me by Master Yang, who is a huge Pepe collector. In fact, I believe he's at the very top of the leaderboard. He's, if not at the top, he's very near the top for the most fake rares. And so, if you look into this book of Keck, that's their whole history of Pepe's. There's like a whole documentary with the initial guy who created Pepe, and how it found its way onto the blockchain. And there's a whole backstory to this thing, and it goes deep, and the culture is interesting. A lot of the cards have their own stories. And so I've spent so many hours in the last couple of weeks just looking at Pepe's and buying ones that I thought were actually going to make it. Well, they're all going to make it, but ones that I thought were especially rare or looked interesting, or had a lot of artistic creativity. And so Love Being was one of these cards that I collected during season 8 of the drop, the fake rare drop, season 8, that was curated by Vincent Van Doe, who is he's another prominent person in the fake rare and rare Pepe community. So we can look at the fake rares here. I want to show you Love Being's card. And there's all kinds of Pepes. It's like you don't even have to, even if you don't want to go in and buy them, like I highly recommend, if you just want to have like a good evening, like grab a drink or something to smoke and get yourself, like, just look through a whole bunch of Pepes here. So this is Love Being. And he's an artist who created this season 2, or sorry, series 8 fake rare card, and it has this like whole track. It's this like whole thing, and it has a story. It's 4 minutes and 20 seconds long. So I don't know, like, if you guys want to watch the whole thing, but definitely check it out. It has like this whole, there's a lot of depth to this one, and I got a whole bunch of like sub assets too, which I can talk about a bit later. But this was one of the cards, and so he's gonna be dropping Series 9 fake rare card to all the holders who hold not only this card, but also hold, I believe, one of the other ones. I think it might have been a fake common that he holds. But if you had both of them, you would get the season 9 or the series 9 card. Oh, Choina is dropping the Pepagachi, which is also a very coveted card, curated by Master Yang himself, and it has a whole track to it. Choina, do you have the sub asset for that? The sub asset is really cool. The Sus Pepperfly. Oh, the Sus Pepperfly that blew me away. That was actually made by Bin Laden and FaZe, who are other prominent Gachi Gang members who've created their own artworks. FaZe is up and coming. I don't know. I don't want to like define him in a way he doesn't think of himself, but he creates dope tracks. The few that I've heard are just incredible, and he does the background track for Sus Pepperfly. So I'm getting way off track here, but Fake Mastery. I have this card. I don't have his other one, and so instead of just being like, "Hey man, you can't have," like it just sucks to suck. I don't have both cards. So he gave me these 2 Cosmic Friend cards instead. He sent them to my wallet. And he gave me 2. So I'm like, dang, that's, I mean, yeah, it was just a very benevolent, very kind act. Like every time I get more than one of more than a couple NFTs, it's good to kind of pass it on. So I definitely want to give one of these away. I just put this out there. You just have to interact with this tweet, and I'd put you on the wheel of names, which we've used many times. And so I'm just gonna double check and make sure I got everyone on here. I know there's a few people that came in just after. So we have Dunk Idaho. And so if any of y'all in the audience don't haven't done this yet, this might be your chance to go do that. But yeah, you just got to go to this tweet that I retweeted just recently, and you go like it or interact with it in some way, and you'll get added. I'll add you in. But yeah, something people don't know about Love Being is he created a 1-of-1 Avagachi piece, which I wish I knew where it was, because I definitely right-click saved it when Master Yang showed me. But he commissioned a 1-of-1 Avagachi piece that was made by Love Being, who completely knocked it out of the park. So I hope I do see more of their work. I see more of their work in Avagachi. Yeah, Choina, have you seen that as well? That's cool. There's a few out there, well-known artists that have 1-of-1 Avagachi pieces out there, but they're locked away in a vault. They're not exactly yes. And the one thing I will say are these are NFTs on Bitcoin, by the way, guys. So you will need to download. I'll show you the process. If one of you wins it in here or someone in the chat, I will DM you. And if you don't know how to set up a XCP wallet, or I personally have a free wallet, it's called. I can help you set one up, and I'll make sure I get this asset to you. But it lives on the Bitcoin blockchain, so it's just a really something unique. And yeah, we'll get you set up if you're not. But don't worry
Yeah,
about
that
that.
is really cool. I don't really know much about these, but I'm very interested in, Bitcoin NFTs. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, and I mean, I see Love Being as a very much like Grail artist. Like a lot of work already been made by them in this space. So some of these things, even though it's given to me for free, if you look at the supply, it's still very low supply, and not all of them have been distributed. Another cool thing with the Bitcoin NFTs, it's part of the culture that NFTs get burned if they don't get sold after a while. They start cutting down the supply, and so it's 130, I think, supply right now. But you never know with these things. Sometimes you start with 100 supply, and the creator might burn half the supply, and so you suddenly end up with a very rare NFT when you just bought it for the art. So it's an interesting way to reward people, and it's really working well for them. So we got Mike Callum, Manor, Zombie Shepherd. Did I add Dunk Idaho? I did not. And let me just make sure I'm getting everyone here. We got Foreign, Manor. I still gotta get Manor. Yeah. Cool. Just gotta add Manor in there. Yeah, so this is the list, guys. Just have a look. Oh, Je suis fatigue. Okay, we got you. You gotta go like my tweet too, though.
I dropped the tweet for him.
That's the deal. Yeah, or you gotta interact with it in some way. See, I make it easy. I just want to pass it on. I don't want to make you work for it. Yeah. You still gotta like the tweet though. Okay. We got you on the list. Very cool. Right on. So we should spin this thing. I just got the one prize to give away. If you don't happen to be in here in GMI right now, that's okay. We're live streaming on Twitter. And if you're not catching it on Twitter, it's all good. I'll reach out to you and we'll make sure we get this NFT to you. So, yeah, just click to spin and let's go. I wonder if someone's made like a Chainlink VRF wheel of names. Oh, we got Foreign. Foreign, are you in here? I know Foreign is a very active participant in the Avagaji space. That's awesome.
It, they were on the GMI list.
Yeah. Oh, she is. I don't know if it's a she or a he. Um, I think I've seen your PFP. I thought it was a she, but congratulations, you won this NFT. So I have to ask you now. Maybe you can either in the chat or up here. Um, do you have a free wallet? Do you have a Bitcoin wallet? Specifically an XCP wallet, I should say. Okay, well, we'll get you set up. We'll get you set up. I'll definitely DM you on Twitter, and we'll make sure that's set up for you. And then from then on, all you have to do is send Bitcoin to that address. And if you're interested in buying some rare Pepes or fake rares or fake commons, you can pick up fake commons, guys, right now for really, really cheap. And honestly, there's this guy today that created a thread on how these things are reminding him of fake rares. I mean, sorry, rare Pepes. So rare Pepes were the original collection it started with this guy Mike, and then it just happened to catch on, and people would have to submit through a process their rare Pepes, and not all of them would get accepted, and you also had to burn a certain amount of Pepe cash to get the opportunity to start a project. And so I think there was about 1,700 Pepe cards that were created before they call them the rare scientists. They retired, and so these are now set in stone forever. Some of the people have lost their keys. Some of the cards don't have the best distribution. There's a lot of issues with these cards, but there are some very low print ones, low quantity ones that are incredibly valuable. Take for like example the rare Pepe #1. This is the one everyone's seen. That might be familiar with. You might have seen this on Twitter. This is the Nakamoto card, currently going for 6.39369 Bitcoin. And so it's incredible. But what I was trying to show you actually is these fake commons. So you have the fake rares, and these are highly curated collections, either really well-known artists in the space or very artistically talented artists. Take, for example, this one, Temple Knight. This is actually a sand art. Like, this is sand art. It's incredible. This guy does with this is I guess it's a sheet of sand, but look at what he creates with this thing. Yeah, that's incredible, man. I'm just blown away by some of the creativity here, and yeah, I could see this happening in other spaces. Definitely see it happening in our space. You know, the very beginnings of it. You know, we're kind of at the very tip of it. But you know, this is where like a lot of culture and creativity. You know, in a strong community, I feel like this is where it could go. So That's like way off track. I was trying to talk to you about the fake commons. These are either up and coming artists or for artists that intentionally publish fake commons. There's a process for that, and it's a little bit simpler to get your cards through to fake commons. But you see the value of some of these cards. They're like some of this art could be mistaken for fake rares. To be honest, if I didn't tell you this, and you would collect it as a fake rare, but they're not very expensive, relatively. Like take for example, this card right here. There are some problems with it, but what's the price of this card here? The price is back here. 0.0025 BTC. So that's I want to say, yeah, 0.034 ETH. That's like understandable terms for me. 0.034 ETH is probably, I want to say, about 60 $70. Correct me if I'm off point, but I think it's around that. $60 to $70, probably around this price, current prices. And so there are some things to look at when you look at these cards. And Master Yang has a great. You guys should all follow him because he has a lot of alpha regarding fake rares. If you're into this, what I'm talking about here, and he has a whole thread on how he looks at fake rares. You might have to dig for it a bit, but it's really it's deep, man. It goes deep. Here, so you see these fake commons, right? Like, I'd probably collect one of these. It's $44. But you see that the supply is only 100. There's only 100 supply, so the supply does match the fake rares at this point. But what people don't know is the fake commons actually do have room for a lot larger quantities, a lot larger prints. So do the fake rares. But because it's so early, you get these small batches. But you got to look at the distribution as well. So luckily they do have like a pie chart of distribution for asset holders built into the site, and it really does provide insights into the actual card. Because one of the mistakes that collectors do make, is that they'll buy a really expensive card. I'm not talking about this. I'm talking about, like a fake rare that was thousands of dollars. But maybe the distribution might not be the best, and you could get burned that way, because you have the large holders dumping on you. So it's a risk. It's a risk to watch out for. And so that's kind of what I've been getting into lately. But with the fake commons, you're not really risking a whole lot. $44. I mean, the first thing you got to consider when you look at stuff like this is you got to like the art. You got to like either it's a meme or it's art. You got to really like
This
it.
one's great though. I would get that.
Right? I mean, this is kind of cool, man. This is I really like this one. I might actually go buy it later, but there's only 100 supply of these, and we know the level, the kind of culture. Man, the name is slipping me now, but Hank. I can't remember Hank's show.
Yeah,
But
Hank Hill, King of the Hill.
King of the Hill. That's right. So King of the Keck.
King of the Keck.
And he does have a lot of keks, and I really do like this card. So there's definitely a lot of opportunity here right now to collect things you really like and have little downside. That's, I guess, what I'm really trying to say. And fake commons are really overlooked right now. People haven't really caught on to fake commons, but with this sort of thing, really, you got to really like the art, and then kind of skate to where nobody's looking, and go that way. I think that would be the idea. And so these are the current drops right now. Anyway, thought I'd give you guys a little peek into what I've been looking at. I've been collecting a fair amount of fake commons. There's some pretty cool ones. And they're not that expensive. You know, maybe $20 to $60, I'd say. Very, very doable. And so yeah, that's that. You know, that's fake rares. That's fake commons. That's what I've been doing lately, in my little small amount of like degen midnight spare time that I get. That's usually when I either make the best decisions or the worst decisions. There's really no in between. Pick you up a copy of King of the Keck. I can definitely do that for you. I can broker that for you. So it's, let's see what the cost of this card is. It's $44, so I can definitely just get that for you in whatever the Bitcoin costs, and you can just get me back on another chain. Broker you up. I might be starting a whole wave of services here. But to be honest, the main hurdle people just need to get over is the getting the free wallet is kind of a such a different process. Oh, I like that. I'm down for that. And so, have you guys seen Bin Laden's cards that he's been making, man? I don't know. I guess maybe this is alpha, but he's been working on some crazy kind of cards like this. They're kind of very meme worthy, but Avagachi, with our own Avagachi sauce. Oh yeah,
So
okay.
what makes that wallet setup different?
I guess it's just the interface. It's not even the fact that it's a too different, because there really still is a seed phrase. You're given a 24-word seed phrase, and I guess that really the different part of it is just the way it's stored on your computer. Because with Bitcoin, I guess the way it works, you're not really signing any transactions with smart contracts. So because its functions are limited, there's not a huge risk, to just having the seed on paper. Like, it gives you a seed. It's not stored on paper or on the computer at all. But you get a seed the first time when you set up the account, and you write that seed phrase down, and you just have to make sure you don't lose that. So it's like a very like it just seems like a very arcane way, but it's like I understand the security aspect of it. It's just I used Ethereum for a long time, and Ethereum's a little different because you're signing transactions. You're interacting with, like, more sophisticated smart, not sophisticated, but more, yeah, I guess in a way, they have a lot of functions they can execute on your wallet, compared
So to
to.
buy one of these, you just click that buy and it happens. Like there's no.
Oh, okay. You know what? I should really explain this process. It is truly weird. Like, honestly, it is. Um, so you would come here to the site. They would do this drop. Usually the drop is around noon, and it gets crazy around the drop. And you have to watch in the Telegram channel to find out kind of the details on the drop sometimes. But they've actually got a lot better to being more. They just post it now because so many people ask them probably. And so you would go here. The thing would drop. You'd say, you want to buy it. Then this window would pop up. It's actually a lot like how GMI does their drops, to be honest. You would put you would put your Twitter handle in here, and then you would have a payment address. So I'd put my the address, the free wallet address that I have. I'd put that in here, and same with the delivery address. I'd put the free wallet address in here. There are other wallets you can get. You can get like a counter wallet, rare Pepe wallet, or a fake rare wallet, but if you get a free wallet, it will hold all these assets. So you might as well just get the free wallet. You would put both of those free wallet addresses, the same address, in there, and then you'd specify how many cards you want, and then you click this, and you go to another win. Actually, I could do this live, to be honest. I'll buy one of these cards. Let me open my wallet. I can show you the process of it, because like you have to click buy and then you get a confirmation and you have like 10 minutes to send it. It is a little bit strange, but once you get used to it and you've done it a couple times, you almost build like a trust with it. Because the NFT doesn't show up right away. Sometimes it could show up like a week later.
Oh wow. I was about to say what, you gotta wait 10 minutes because it's blocked Bitcoin, but no, you gotta wait a week because it's more like GMI.
No, it is very much like GMI. So this is how they do it, I guess. No, exactly. No, that's exactly my reaction. Oh, shout out. Yeah, GM, sir. Good to see you here. We're just hanging out. We are live right now. We're just talking about Pepe's and my experience that I've had dabbling with their community over there. Welcome, sir. But yeah, going back to what you said, Zombie Shepherd, it's weird, man. I definitely was a little weirded out by it the first couple times.
So
Uh,
how are these stored on the blockchain?
that's a
Or
good.
like how are they NFTs, I guess is the question. Like,
Yeah, I mean that's a good question. I don't have the level of technical knowledge yet to answer that, to be honest. I know a lot of the links that I've looked at, for example, are not IPFS links or anything like that. They're stored on whatever, let's see here. When you look at where it's stored, more info. So if you go to the asset name, it has like this hash here that's like a JSON file, but I don't know where that would be stored. I mean, it's a good question.
oh, it says Arweave in there.
Oh yeah, right here. Okay, there's our answer. Arweave. That's where it's stored. So they actually literally do it exactly like GMI, basically. So this is the XCP chain. So we kind of function the same way without a blockchain, basically. We're just a
So
bunch of people.
XCP is kind of the chain that the NFT is on because it's not being stored on Bitcoin, obviously.
No, I mean the token is being stored on Bitcoin though, but the token is attached. The token is attached to the Arweave image. So we're basically doing the same thing with our NFTs as they're doing with these Bitcoin fake rares.
Hmm.
That's a really
Interesting.
I never really realized that, to be honest. Like just having that realization now, to be honest. It is interesting though, isn't it? I mean, it's secure. The, they do have these things called dispensers, and what happens is, I guess the person deposits their NFT in the dispenser, and once you send, you go view here, you'll have this, and it just says send 0.012 BTC, and you receive one DDoS small attack. So, I mean, this isn't a fake rare. This is just like some other. This is actually Dark Farm's work. He has non-fake rare things, and so you would send this BTC to this address up here, and you would receive one of these. But I've waited up to like 2 days sometimes. Usually it's about. It could be anywhere between 30 minutes and like a week, to be honest. Cause like if you're gonna buy things off of like the fake rare website when the drops happen, they don't do the distribution till the drop ends. So like if you got one of these like Nicolina Patolis cards, the fake forest, if you got one of these, like there was probably 100 when this started, and so now they're down to 22. The initial buyers probably haven't received them yet, but also sometimes they do. So like there's no like definite. It could be in a way. The first couple of times it would definitely induce some anxiety for sure, but you get used to it. Like I definitely just put trust in it now and hope it comes. Do I have? I think I have that much BTC. Yeah, I think I could do that. 0.0008. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty interesting though what you can do, and then you can burn tokens on the chain, of course, as well. Oh, nice. I'm just reading, trying to see the chat here. Yeah, I agree, Mike Helm. We're pretty smart. I like to think that. I mean, it's cool. All the GMI NFTs are Arweave assets. And speaking of which, that's going pretty well. I should have all the rest of them up, even the godlike ones out by the rest of, by tonight. There's only a couple more I think I have to send out. The legendary to godlike should be showing up. I know OpenSea's been kind of slow to upload assets lately. I'm not sure why. Like that was part of my mix up the other night with Gotcha. Um, is that the assets haven't been showing up right away lately for some reason, but they seem to show up like 24 hours later. So
On your initial upload, or like?
yeah, when you first like deploy the contract and mint out the NFTs, it
Uh
doesn't
huh.
seem to like show up right away. I mean, I found that
Oh,
with the Gotcha couple of them.
yeah. I know Zfi got his gotcha, but I haven't got mine yet.
Yeah, see, that's strange. I mean, I'll go back and make sure I didn't. It wasn't on my end, but um, yeah, I can definitely we'll sort that out. It's good to know.
Cool. Yeah. I was just bringing it up because you mentioned you had problems. So
Yeah, I
Z5.
was I was having problems with that. But sorting them out, it's definitely been a process, like going through it on my own, and it's been interesting. But I'm at a level now where I feel confident enough to show someone else how to do it. So I think that's good. So what you do here, I'm gonna take you through the process of buying a fake common card, which I'm buying for. I'm gonna buy that from McCallum, and I'll send that over to you. Or we'll figure out how to set up a wallet, and then I'll get that to you. So you put in your contact information. So I'll put in my Twitter handle. You want to put a payment address in, and I will do that. And then the same thing, I usually, if you want it delivered to a different wallet, you can do that. That's another cool feature. So you can get it delivered to a different wallet if you want, but I got the same wallet. You want one card, you just do that. You understand that you have 10 minutes to complete the transaction, and then you go next. And it should take you to like a confirmation screen. So then this thing shows up. It says you're buying one King of the Keck at 0.0008 BTC. Complete the transaction in the next 10 minutes. And so what you have to do is take this, and you have to send a payment. You have to send this payment to this address. So you copy that. You paste the destination, and then you enter the amount. So I just copy that and paste it as well. And after you do that, you send the funds. They're on their way. And so you send the funds. After that, you just wait. That's basically it. You just wait. And so that's done. I'll get that eventually. I'll let you know when I get that. But you would have 10 minutes to complete that. And then you go to the confirmation. And, it waits for you. And you can close this window if you want at this point. You just close the window. And you'll see here on the page now, it says check purchase status. So you can look at that. And then if you click on the box, it'll show you this. Your purchase is in progress. We're waiting for the transaction confirmation. And what it's looking for is just you broadcasting the transaction on Bitcoin. So it's not necessarily looking for the transaction to be confirmed, because that can take a few blocks. I think maybe even 10 minutes for that to confirm. But what it does do is look for the broadcasting. So as soon as you put the transaction out there in a queue, it'll go look for that, and it builds its own queue from that, I guess. I could be wrong, but that's how I understand it. You just wait. To be honest, I've waited a day or a couple hours. It's never been instant. I've always had to wait. So you just kind of let it happen. You just wait till it shows up, basically. And so that's the process right there. And you can just go to you could go to a dispenser and buy it, but the easiest way to actually acquire something like this is to go to pepe.whatthefuck or WTF. I'll paste the link in for you. The easiest way to get involved is to just head over there and start learning this stuff, and maybe experiment for the first one. For your first purchase, maybe go in and buy a card that's not worth very much. Like that doesn't cost very much money, and start with that, and then you can work your way to when you feel confident to buying you could buy a fake rare that you like, and there's lots. You can go to Not Rare Pepe's fake rares, and you can see the series there. We're on series 9 now. Series 8 was when I really started taking notice, and that was because this was a fully curated list of like crazy well-known artists, or just incredible artists overall, and just put together by VVD, Vincent Van Doe on Twitter, who is a longtime member, OG member, who's put this together, and some really, really cool Grail NFTs in here. If you're into collecting, crypto art, there are some artists you'll probably recognize. Like Bootlegged is Searlight. Um, let's see here. There's this one here. Is another. Killer Acid is another well-known artist. This is the Pepe that got out of my hands, slipped away from me. I actually got a story about this. So it was so crazy to get something like this. I just showed you that process, right? You fill the form, you send the transaction, you do all that stuff. If you weren't faster than 7 seconds, and I'm not kidding, 7 seconds to fill out that form and do that whole process I showed you, including broadcasting the transaction, you were beat. You were done. Because people were filling out these forms so quick, and I'm not sure if it was bots. To be honest, I'm kind of doubtful it was bots, just the way they control the process. But they definitely were using either some sort of script to fill in a form really quickly, or yeah, they had really fast fingers. But these things were selling out, and I saw them go from like 80 to 60, and I was like, the seconds were passing by, and my hands were like shaking like meth head, trying to like fill in this form, and I made a little mistake when I copy and pasted the Bitcoin address. Exactly, I looked just like that, and when I copy and pasted the address, I left a little space at the beginning, and the transaction, the window where you fill out the transaction, was telling me it's not going to send, like you can't send it. There's the string, the address is too long or something, incorrect. And so just that 2 seconds of like trying to fix that, I knew I was done for. I'm like, I'm done. This is, and the mint price of these things, I think was it was like pretty cheap, to be honest, like for what this artwork is. The mint price was zero point 0.02 BTC, so 500 US dollars. And I think the floor price now is, yeah, like 4 grand. But maybe one day I'll be able to get something like this. I was hoping to get it for the mint price, but that didn't work out for me. I made a small mistake, but you really have to be You could fill it out in 7 seconds and you still might not get it. So that's just how it goes. And I see this everywhere now, like on my feed and people talking about it. And it's like, dang, this is the one that got away. But there's definitely plenty of other great ones like in the series, and there's other series to check out too. So like go back and look through them. They each have their own style. So yeah, that's what I got about. That's rare Pepe's, fake rares, fake commons. Their whole you know kind of my whole take on it, my whole experience with it. And that was Love Being's giveaway. So congrats to Foreign for winning that. I'll make sure we get you set up with that. But I think that's all we got for today. Maybe DeFi news. DeFi news this week. I think the biggest thing this week was I guess today we found out there's a tornado linked arrest based on I guess someone who's either involved with
A
or
developer.
the developer of
Oh, that might be. Is that another one? That looks like something else. I know they arrested the developer.
I think that's what this is. Tornado Cash.
Yeah.
And so it brings into question, should there be sanctions on a smart contract? Because that's a piece of software. Like, I don't think.
In the United States, code is protected by the First Amendment.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think software can be illegal. And so the night before all this happened, I remember Tornado Cash open sourced their GitHub. Like, literally the night before all this went down.
So
And
they knew it was coming.
they knew it was coming, but it makes me wonder how many people were able to get copies of that
Oh, it's
repo.
forked.
And there's gonna be probably hundreds of forks, not like one, because it's open
They,
source now. So like,
right, that's why they did it. That was smart. They knew oh, if we're going down, don't worry, you can't stop it.
you can't stop it. And so they think they're. I mean, this is gonna be a bad move if they don't deal with this the right way, because it's a privacy tool at the end of the day. I think it should be allowed to exist. There could be some. They're gonna want their hand in it to regulate it somehow. I feel like that's the best key scenario, is to actually using that excuse of you got to protect people from. I mean, it really doesn't make sense to me, because they go out and say we got to protect people from financial harm, but they then let the Terra Luna thing happen with no oversight. So it's like, it's kind of hypocrisy to me, because
Oh, totally.
it's like you're really not trying to protect anything. You're looking at your own self interests, and obviously a mixer or
Or it's like
Tumblr that doesn't
investor
like.
protector laws that just, protect you from investing.
Yeah.
Like, what do you like what?
And so I don't think there's any winning for them anyway, in this sort of battle that they think that they got going on. Because really, what happens with a lot of software is it just people still use it. It's just harder to detect. So it's kind of one of those things. Um, I've never used Tornado Cash, but I know people that maybe have used it. And unfortunately, this has affected them because they've been looking after where the tainted money, they call it tainted money, where's it going? And they've been tagging random wallets. I've noticed. I've seen that on Twitter a few times. People's wallets getting tagged, you know, from OpenSea and stuff, like not being able to use OpenSea with that wallet. So
Oh,
it's
wow.
it's just annoying to be honest.
Yeah.
It's maybe you have a big collection on there or something, or
See, I thought it was just certain assets that were being frozen in the wallets, but they're able to freeze entire wallets. That seems.
well, USD people don't. I don't know if everyone knows this, but USDC in the code, their smart contract have the ability to basically soul bind tokens to a specific wallet
Yeah.
that's
Oh,
in.
you know what? With OpenSea, it might be OpenSea's choice to have done that
Yeah, so they just
for
don't
those
make it
same
show.
wallets. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And so that's what was happening with the actual money. People's money was getting kind of locked in wallets. And so it's just, you know, I think the space is resilient enough to keep innovating past it, especially when something like that goes open source. So it's, I hope the community as a whole, I guess, stands up for that, because that is, like you said, protected in many countries by an amendment, or there's even I think there's just like a general understanding that software is that's being used for the common good is should be allowed to exist. I don't know. I think that's always kind of been there with like Linux systems. There's like people improving their own Linux like builds. That's like always
I
been
think
out there.
cryptography was illegal in the United States until the 80s.
Cryptography wasn't legal.
Yeah, it was not legal,
Oh.
exactly. And then I don't even think transferring money on the internet wasn't even legal till the late 90s, early 2000s. Like it was illegal to transfer money on the internet at all.
Okay. I see. And so that is interesting. I didn't know that. I kind of knew about the money part being illegal, transfer of money, but then you did have like PayPal and things that came later on, I guess, that maybe started to shift that a bit.
Yeah, once the banks could get their claws in it, they figured
Yeah, and that's
out.
basically all this is about, right? Is like how can we get a piece of
That's
that?
all it is.
And I think the beautiful thing about decentralization and what we're trying to actually go after in having cryptography as a part of like governance is this resistance to censorship is the biggest thing. And so I think that's one of crypto's strongest attributes, or like good crypto anyway, that's been around for a while. Um, and yeah, that's my take on it anyway.
Yeah, I was actually talking about this earlier with ZFi, and I think, like you were saying, they're gonna find their ways to get into it. I would think that the way they'll do it is by offering privacy in the United States CBDC. There'll be some kind of privacy feature where we're private from each other, but not them.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at the system proposed by the BIS, and you guys should look into this document. It's the Bank of International Settlements, and it sounds like a friendly name, but it's not. It's like basically a group of individuals that, I mean, I gotta show you, I gotta show you the guy who leads the Bank of International Settlements.
Do you look like a Bond villain?
Oh my God, he looks the furthest from it. Bank of International Settlements chairman. People have looked this shit up before. It's pretty hilarious. This dude. Uh, you guys should like look into who this guy is and like what their plan is. This huge motherfucker. And look at this guy. Look at this guy. So this is the guy, Bank of International Settlements. Their whole thing is they basically want to create a CBDC across the globe. Eventually all the CBDCs would be kind of linked in with the main one. And that would be like the private CBDC. That's what you're kind of talking about. That'd be like a private system for money for like wealthy people, like over a certain amount, you know, and not like exactly a
Oh.
certain amount, but
So we would be protected from being there, is what you're saying.
we exactly. You would have the people who have large investments, large sums of money, family offices over a certain amount. They would be allowed to use that network, and then you'd have the other network that's like for everybody else. And so it's kind of like this dual network that the Bank of International Settlements is proposing. But that doesn't necessarily mean every country will implement what they're recommending. They're kind of like They're kind of like NATO or like the UN, but like for just the banks operating around the world, and they go around and they like advise, what you should do next. But obviously, if you don't take their advice, then you're not going to get like funding or whatever deals they got going on. So there's definitely like deep ties with what they're recommending and then what ends up happening, and it's interesting. This is a fight. This is a battle that's going on, and it's interesting because we're on the right side of history, in my opinion. So he takes the eat the rich thing too. I actually don't disagree. I don't completely disagree with the, like, you should have wealth. Like, everyone should have wealth. I think there should be, and I think what crypto allows for is more millionaires and less billionaires, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. I don't think, once you get to a level of like over $1 billion, like, what do you need that much money for? And like, what are you okay with having like $400 million? Like, that's, you can do a lot with that. Like, beyond that, what are you actually really contributing with that money? There are like a few like rare individuals like Elon Musk and people that have actually created like companies with their money, and like that would be a good use for your money. But like, what other like, guess billionaires have come to mind that actually like use their money for like good? I don't know. I feel like you get to a point where you just, the money has to go somewhere, and they'll just go the easiest place it can go. So I think it's just like an opportunity. What if you want trillions? Then, bro, then you should be staking for a big LP position of glitter, because like that's the easiest way to get it. You should just. I think actually there's only a trillion total, isn't there? Or is it 10 trillion? Or is it 100 trillion? I can't remember how much glitter there is, but you could definitely get a lot of it. You could feel rich. But I mean, my point is anyway that I started kind of getting involved in this space because I thought there's a lot of opportunity with not only like getting into gaming and all that, but also just giving an opportunity for people to actually get some like true financial literacy and something that'll like help them in their life. I guess that's like the main goal of mine. Like the um what do you call it? Like meaning or like purpose or whatever you personally feel that drives you, that's kind of what drives
Yeah.
me.
Got to have that comfortable level to be able to just do what you want to do. I mean, that's what it comes down to for me. Is just I want to keep being creative and making music and doing my thing, and I just want to be able to like sustain that, you know?
If you look at the history of like successful societies in the past, the ones where wealth really just kept accumulating to a point where it was very hard to make money, because that's typically what's happened in some older empires is it just became really hard to keep making the money work once you got to a certain level. And from that point on, a lot of the funds and a lot of the willpower of those societies went into culture and into art. And it's so interesting that we're seeing that happen with Bitcoin because it can't really be manipulated. And that's, of course, translated across the whole space into NFTs and Ethereum and all that. But it's so interesting to see that start translating into our space here, because the problem with fiat societies has always been once you get to a point where it's very hard to make money, the only way to make money in that society is to manipulate the currency, and it just manipulates itself over time to the point where it's not really worth anything. And so that road to get there is called inflation, or hyperinflation, I guess. Not just inflation, but hyperinflation. And so, that's every fiat currency has ever gone, that's ever been created has gone through that. And that's why we don't see a lot of art, and we don't see a lot of like rich culture, like that's been developing. In my opinion, this is like solely my opinion, but I just don't see a lot of like culture, or just like very good art, or people who are artistically or creatively talented, but they're not expressing it. And so I think NFTs and crypto could be a great way to get people into the art space and like give them some incentive, because like money is a great incentive, right? So, you know, if people have the opportunity to make some wealth like by being a really good artist, I'm hoping we see a lot of artists coming into, for example, our Gotchiverse, other metaverses. I hope we start to see even like some other, like I like your idea, Mike Callum, of Unchained artists. That's brilliant. I think that's great for our space, but it's great for any space. Is to have, you know, if you have a family member you might know, friend you might know that's just artistically, creatively talented, why not, bring them into the NFT space and show them, how easy it is to make money if you're a really good artist, and how easy it is to create a community of people around you that appreciate your work, and you're making money for it. Like, how incredible is that? So, I don't know. That's just my take on it, and I think metaverses will be a good vehicle for that.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree because even, like you were saying about the quality, I guess, of culture, the quality of art that exists at this current moment, we have a lot of like, movies just are remakes of every other movie, and then, the most popular things we have are really like, Marvel and Disney and that type of stuff, and it's conglomerate owned, really kind of like cheap content.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not deep at all. And then like I've talked about this with music, with the music industry, um it not even about quality of music, but just in general, like you can't really be in a band anymore because nobody gets paid, so you can't afford to have five people making music together on one paycheck. So you really have to go the electronic do it all by yourself route because you can't afford four other people in your band or whatever it is. So everybody has to be their own little island and do it by themselves because there's just no money in the world for it.
Yeah.
And the only people who get money are the people who can find their way into those big pockets of money where they're going to get forced to do, you know, bull
They
crap.
they lose their vision. They have to give it up.
Exactly. You're never going to get your little indie project off the ground. Like you got to go work for Disney or, you know, try selling your thing to Netflix and you're lucky if they change it and keep you.
And that's the challenging part of grassroots cultures, I think, is it takes time to develop. Like culture doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't just come together overnight. NFTs definitely speed up that process, right, of helping people find each other and synchronize with each other. But it still takes a lot of time for that to grow and develop into something that can turn into a rich product with whatever you're offering. If you're doing uh, if you're for example making a movie together, the first couple might not be as good as like the ninth or 10th, but it takes time to get there, and oftentimes the funding isn't there till you kind of make it. So it's like there's probably a
Hmm.
lot of good art and a lot of good works, a lot of good music that's just been lost along the way just because of that, because the
I mean, I
process to get there
program
is a nightmare.
Yeah, I program for Slam Dance, which is an underground film festival. So I see thousands of movies a year that you will never see.
Wow. That's cool, man.
Like great movies. Like some of it's, low quality indie films or whatever, but some of it is really good stuff, golden stuff that just it can't get picked up. And a lot of the time when you go through these festival routes, this is also proof of what you were saying about art and money and the whole thing. Like festivals used to be the way you did it. You go do your indie films on the festival route, and then some producer is going to find you and pick up your next film or get you a deal for the film you just put out. Now you're lucky if a streaming service will pick up your feature film off of a festival route, and even if they do, it's like they're just buying the rights so that it can go die on Amazon while you're still promoting it yourself at 8 cents a play.
Oh yeah. I
You
mean,
know what
it's
I
totally
mean?
not in your favor there.
Right.
So I
So
mean, there's platforms like Audius and stuff coming up now as a creator, like a audio creator. And I want to touch on Fallen Corpse's point here in a second, but as an audio creator, what are your thoughts on platforms like Audius coming up and trying to pass on basically more of the revenue onto the artist?
honestly, I've done a lot of research into these things and I haven't settled on anything because I don't know. I really haven't set I like NFTs and I don't know how I feel about Web3 streaming yet. Um so and I haven't really dived into like how all the tokenomics of these things work because in a lot of ways it still seems like Web3 or just streaming in general, I guess it still kind of revolves around I guess I mean it's always a popularity contest, but it just seems kind of it's like you're getting audience tokens I guess back and in some cases I've seen some that are like I don't know, it's even just complicated how to release on your music, like what the tiers are. There's different tiers of how you release it in some of these things. So it's all very confusing, even for someone who's like well versed in this stuff. And I'm just not sure. At this point, the only reason I haven't dived into it really hard is because somebody's going to win. And then it's going to be clear where you should be making music. Whereas, like at this point, there was like a point where you didn't know if you should go with Bandcamp or whatever. I forget what the other way, CD Baby, or there's other like platforms that will get you into streaming services. But some of those platforms, like CD Baby, used to give you physical CDs and tapes and all that type of stuff. But clearly, like they kind of lost out over time to things. I forget the one is. There's one that gets you on Spotify and all that stuff, and I think that's the number one that people are using now. But I didn't like their service, and that's why I don't use any of that stuff. Like I really, it all turns me off. All that stuff. It's just a
Yeah, I hear you on that. Maybe the appeal just isn't there yet. I mean,
troll.
yeah, I mean, it kind of ties in with what Slaps is saying too, I guess. He says seems like people would just donate to artists they like, so there might be like a pre-selection already with like the artists putting up their music, and it's the same kind of idea with traditional space, but maybe not as much to a degree. But I also see, um, the appeal of it is just maybe not there yet. Maybe because we just don't have enough users using the platform. So
The other part of it for me is digital rights management. So I really am unclear on a lot of how digital rights is actually done in Web3 without involving these really centralized services and actually be legitimate. Because, like other than on your own filing copyrights and doing all that stuff, and then but that's not DRM. That's literally paperwork. So, how do you actually get other services to monitor when your song is being played? That's the problem with what Slaps is saying about you want to be everywhere. You want to be everywhere as long as somebody's listening everywhere to get you paid. Otherwise, you're just playing everywhere for free.
actually, this is a great point. This actually ties in with what Fallen Corpse was saying when he was touching on art. He's saying, "What are your thoughts on AI coming in here, and can they do art as well as humans?" I think AI art is gonna be difficult to differentiate from real like human made art in the near future, but also there's gonna be an appreciation for the unique element of human art. The thing with AI is I don't know to what degree they're able of create. To what degree are they capable of creativity, or are these just algorithms and eventually there'll be a pattern that emerges that.
I think with Dolly too, you speak to it and it can decipher from like your words what you want to see. And
See,
obviously, like it can be
wow.
very wrong.
Yeah, I'm not totally like up to speed on what on Dolly 2. I have heard of it here and there. I know it's an AI art platform. Okay, so they're using written prompts. So you
Oh,
put
it's
the written
written.
prompts in, and then does it paint what you're actually telling it to do? Is that how it works?
Yeah, it tries to interpret it.
Okay, so maybe
And
they're
it's
trying to.
smart enough to know like IP characters and things like that. So if you write Mickey Mouse, it will like try to figure what that it looks like.
Oh, that's kind of cool to actually play around with that. That would be really interesting. But I think this was actually in a podcast I was listening to not long ago. The guy asked a similar question where it was like, I think it was something like if AI develops to a point where it's sentient, to the point where it is, its knowledge level is above the level of a human being, its intelligence level is above the level of a human being. What would be one of the reasons why the AI beings would keep the human beings around? What would be the reason? And they really went deep down the rabbit hole into this. But basically, what it came down to is AI would actually appreciate the creative aspect of human beings, and they would see that side of human beings as being just interesting, like the way you look at, the way you look
As long
at.
as we don't program them for maximum efficiency.
Yeah, well, then we're all going in a meat grinder, basically. Well, yeah, exactly. Kind of like pets, they would actually look at the art, the human art, as in with admiration. This is actually the guy who created GPT-3, or is one of the guys who worked on it. So that's a I don't know. I think it's a JavaScript engine, but it's like an AI based, like it's an AI based off of JavaScript. Or the guy was very very proficient with JavaScript. That the guy who wrote it. So this is like this its own AI, and I think you can actually talk to GPT-3. And when you're talking to this thing, it seems like you're almost talking to a human being. It can crack jokes, it can do all this stuff, but really, the thing he pointed out is it's imitating. It's trying to do its best to imitate what a human is doing, and so it's not capable of being the seed of creativity. And that's what the AI might actually find interesting about human beings, when there's really nothing left, right, to compete with. When we're like in that, create in that arena with the AI, we're not going to have very much to compete with. And so the creativity, I think, is going to be one of the things that might be the reason that humans are somehow, maybe somehow, creativity ties in with our future use case. Yeah,
No,
but
I'm
I mean,
laughing
going
at
back to.
Z-Fi say it, living like cat. Like, can't wait to get to that point where we just get to live like cats. That's as long as we get more than just kibble, I'm good with it. Um,
Yeah.
More choices than kibble. We need like by that point, hopefully we got like the Star Trek food
Oh my god,
generators and
though. Oh my god. What if the AI, though? I mean, I can't see them, implanting AI chips and stuff into human beings first. It might start out with like animals. Like, what if your AI, you could get like an AI chip for your cat, and now your cat is actually more sentient than you. And like you
whoa.
actually start to rely on your cat for stuff. Like you gotta like ask it stuff. But like it could actually be very intelligent. I mean, that would be interesting, because then from there I could see it going from animals to maybe people who are have some sort of disability that might benefit. They have some spinal injury or something. They might benefit from that AI creating a better, like rewiring a neural network for them. That
I
would
feel
be
like
an.
I've seen this horror movie. I can't put my finger on it.
It's like a sophisticated version of Frankenstein,
Oh man.
but like the AI cat thing. And then going back just really quickly before we end off here, touching on your conversation about creative rights and CCO for audio and music. What if AI was able to look for your song? You have some sort of identifier or tag on your audio
Well,
file on your.
that does exist. I mean, that's how the algorithms do it. That's how YouTube does it. And I mean, that's why vaporwave music came to be because people were trying to avoid the YouTube algorithm. So they started chopping and screwing songs so they couldn't get detected anymore.
Oh, that's
But
very
you have
cool.
to pay someone to be looking on your behalf.
Oh, okay, interesting. That's interesting. Wow. Okay. I mean, this has been a great conversation here. Many times I wanted to go down a rabbit hole, but we kind of touched on a whole bunch of different things here. And oh, we got one more question here from Fallen Corpse. The other question to think about: aren't we just biological AIs? Isn't the brain just a biological computer that evolved over many years? That's so interesting. Isn't the brain just a biological? I could see that because
Yes.
at the yeah, at the end of the day, it is neurons talking to each other. There's electrical impulses going between the neurons, which are then telling your muscles to do things, and then there's feedback the other way around. And so it didn't start out that way. And if you actually look at the structure of the brain, the um, the primal features of the brain are actually near the core of the brain. So, like your brainstem contains like your medulla, it contains a few other structures that I can't remember right now, but they're responsible like your feeding, like your food, your breathing, and your like your sex drive and stuff is responsible for that. Like the three main functions, reproduction, food, and breathing, are like your very close to your brainstem. And then above that is your I think it's like judgment and a few other decision making, that sort of thing. And then higher than that, like your most recent development part of your brain, including like your frontal cortex, that part is that's like the higher consciousness part of you. That's like what we consider human. That's like the human part of you, is like that last layer,
And you
which is
have
the biggest layer.
decentralized file storage.
Yeah, basically, it's just this big lump on top of everything else, and that's what makes us human. So it is almost just like a biological computer that evolved. Totally.
Yep.
That was great though. I do. Yeah, I nerd out about stuff
See,
like that.
I go more the other route with AI, where I don't think AI is going to enslave us or turn us into pets as much as the only way we're actually going to reach the next level of understanding is through AI. Because, like, for instance, when we look at an ant, we know that that ant can't possibly have a grasp of the world it lives in, but we assume that we do. And by
Oh,
creating AI, that will actually create the broader scope of vision to see what we're incapable of seeing or measuring.
oh my God! I mean, that could be like it's almost like AI could be a telescope for human perspectives. We're looking at ourselves down amongst ourselves where we're at, not really realizing the extent of our awareness could go way beyond with AI, with what it could show us. Even down, like you said, looking downwards too, right? Down to the cellular level, down to like the atomic level. Like we don't really fully understand what goes on beyond the atomic level, but it's not the base unit. And so like you there's so many different secrets that have yet to be revealed about even the universe up above, and then the atoms and beyond the atoms, the subatomic down below. So like I'm a huge nerd about like anything science. Like I really enjoy um not any specific topic, to be honest. I just like reading. I used to read a lot of those like Scientific American. What's the other one? There was the science magazines. I was really into those,
Hmm.
and so I just nerd out about stuff like that. But it's so interesting that your take on it actually does make sense. I could see that being early AI. You know what I mean? Like we're gonna think AI is just like the shit. Like it's just amazing. Like it's gonna give us insights into medical things, and I mean it already is, but to the point where you combine AI with quantum computing. What a quantum computer can do is it can basically find all possible outcomes and then tell you the most probable one. That's like what's really good at. And so normally when normal computing is like zeros and ones, and it's binary code. And so there's only so many things you can do, but it can only determine one thing at a time. So it can either determine something's a zero or a one. With quantum computing, it's kind of like it knows 0, 1, and all the combinations, everything in between, all in one moment. It'll tell you the most probable one. And so it's kind of like, yeah, it's like flipping a coin, and you don't really know what side of the coin is right till it lands on your hand, and you look at it. That's classical. Quantum is like you flip the coin, and before the coin's even landed, you already know all possible outcomes of the coin plus
Yeah.
the most probable one. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's kind of the way I understood it as well. Is kind of like that. Like every coin is in the superposition until the moment that it's not, but it goes through all possibilities until it reaches the right answer, and it does it so quick that it seems like it already knew the answer.
Yeah, it's amazing. You combine that with AI, and you're talking about some next level sentient stuff, right? So I hope it's on our side, and it just doesn't look at us as like these like animals that collect rare pepes, because that would just be a shallow view of human beings, what
I
they're
mean,
capable
we're already in it, right? We're just sitting here on a Discord channel bullshit, and it's like, gotcha.
of. Oh man,
Y'all
it's
are
gonna
just
go back
in
and
the
listen to.
gotcha verse, thinking y'all are living.
It's gonna go back and listen to this recording, and hopefully that's enough to spare me. Well, I appreciate y'all listening to us here tonight. We did a little giveaway. We talked about some current events and just our take on things in general. I hope y'all enjoyed District 420 and hanging out with us. This is Hefe. We got Anthony, zombie, otherwise known as Zombie Shepherd, here hanging out with us in GMI Amphitheater with all our other peeps. Congrats to Foreign on winning the Cosmic Friend NFT by Love Being, and thank you to Love Being for giving me those two NFTs. So I do appreciate that, and we will catch you next Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern. 7 p.m. Eastern next Friday, every Friday. And hope you all have a good weekend. Take care, folks. Peace out.
Peace.